Welcome, everybody, once again to the Let's Go Crunch podcast, part of the Land Media Group. I am Ethan Greenberg, and alongside of me is Andrew Hagenbaugh. Welcome in, everybody. Drew, how are we doing?
Doing great, man. A huge win the other night.
Yeah, it was absolutely a phenomenal game for the Cleveland Crunch to improve to 2-0 on the season. It is just great to be talking some Crunch, especially with the other things going on in town with some of the other professional sports organizations in Cleveland. The Crunch are out there and they are crunching their opponents. Just fantastic work by Cleveland. And also, while we get going right from the start, I want to thank our man from behind the scenes, Mike Wilkes. He is taking care of all of the fine production from behind the scenes, putting things together. Always appreciate him. Well, let's get right into it. Let's get right into it here, Drew. Another one bites the dust. Trip to Fort Wayne, success. I could check that off the box. I would say that was a good win there. 18-2, is that good?
I think that's pretty good. If memory serves right, I think that's pretty good.
I think it is. That was just a beatdown. It really was. Yeah. And quite frankly, the first two games of the season for the Crunch have been very decisive wins. They have been beatdowns. They took down the Summit City Sentinels in Fort Wayne this weekend. What a great game for the Cleveland Crunch. They were blanking them until the second half. Just fantastic. And folks, why don't we do this? Let's take a quick look here. Some of the highlights from the game as the Crunch wins 18-2. I mean, the highlight, that was only about, I think that might have been about 8 of the goals of the 18, and those were some masterpieces. It was just ridiculous. They outshot Summit City 25-5. Drew, when was the last time you saw a performance like that other than the game against Red Cedar?
I would probably say the game against Red Cedar is probably the last time I've seen something like that. It's just absolute domination.
Oh, you mean it wasn't Liverpool over Tottenham?
I mean, to be fair, we had more shots than Liverpool and more shots on target.
That's pretty amazing considering we were down to 10 men from way early. Oh my goodness!
Because remember, Chris Romero got a red card in the 75th or so minute.
And then I don't. All right.
Yeah.
Breathe in, blow out. Breathe in. All right. Let's focus on the Cleveland Crunch here. No, seriously though. Leading the way once again is Admir Suljevic, 9 points, 6 goals, 3 assists. Michael Derazic, the man of the match, 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists. And Gabriel Piwu, 5 points, 1 goal, and 4 big assists. As I mentioned a moment ago, it's different in this town with a lot of the teams that we watch, whether they're playing on the lakefront, they're playing over at Rocket Arena, whatever the case may be. It's a different feeling being on this side of the ledger as opposed to the losing side of the ledger. Doesn't it make it kind of harder to discuss this type of a game than it does when you have to be critical about everything that happened and why did you mess up and how did you lose? Really, they're making it hard on us, aren't they, Drew?
Yeah, no, it's making our job a lot more difficult because, like you said, when you have the other 3 teams playing poorly, it's easier to talk about because there's more to talk about what's going on, what's going wrong. For the Crunch, it's almost impossible to talk about because everything goes so perfectly. Everything goes so right. there's like nothing you could really nitpick that they do wrong, and it's like, well, then what's the use of us? Because we can't talk about anything because, well, the games went so perfectly. There's nothing really to discuss.
Right. And I think when we talked to Coach Manfoot last week,
Mhm.
he talked about they were getting some younger guys in the game at Red Cedar, giving them some more experience. And this is actually, again, an excellent way to do it. You're on your way. You're really demoralizing and destroying your opponents. I'm sure that won't be the case throughout the season. And I guess let me ask you this question because it just popped into my head here. Earlier this season, and again, this is referencing one of our other hometown teams, the Cavs. After a loss, they talked to Donovan Mitchell, and he talked about how the prior season they went 15 and last year they went 15-0,
Mhm.
and they never really faced adversity. And he talked about, well, this is good. This is good. We're facing adversity. Do you buy that? I mean, the Crunch are 2-0 and destroying teams. Do you buy the adversity thing?
No. No, I don't, because if you're crushing teams, what's the adversity?
Well, we're right. But so, I mean, is it better to have adversity than to just sail through the season?
I would say that's a tough one, to be honest with you, because I think you want some adversity because it brings a little bit more toughness. Because then because it shows there's things to work on, there's things to, practice. But when you're not facing any adversity, when everything goes too perfectly, then you start to get a little too comfortable. And
Okay.
then things are like, oh, this is way too easy. And then when, as we saw in the Cavs in the playoffs, they lost because, well, things were a little too easy. And, we saw last season with the Crunch in the championship, things were a little too easy and they fell just short. So sometimes you want a little bit of adversity. Sometimes you want like a loss here and there just to, be like,
humble
okay,
you?
yeah, to humble you a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so you would be kind of in agreement with the sentiment
Yeah.
that Donovan Mitchell had about the Cavs. That is fair. I think that eventually the Crunch will run into that, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll go a little bit around the league. We'll kind of take a look at the standings or talk about the standings, but just how fortunate are we to have the Crunch to cheer for in Cleveland? They're winning. They're doing exactly what we want in this town. Just how great is it to have this team in town? I mean, I know I'm not there, but it's very exciting, and I certainly remember growing up and being able to go to the games when they were the winning franchise in the area.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I remember going there as a child, just going to the, CSU to watch the games. And, I was the little kid that walked out on the field with the players for the national anthem and stuff like that. And it was a great time because, like you said, we were winning. We were one of the only teams in the city that were winning. And now here we are, like Mike said, at least Cleveland has one winning team. It feels good to have a team that knows how to win games. They know how to close things out. They know how to not hide anything. Like everyone knows, like from the jump when this team first came back, they were good from the jump. I mean, they won a championship right in their first season, and then they won it again. And then last season didn't go so well. But you know what? This team has shown time and time again, like this is a perfectly built team. This team knows exactly what it's doing. It's got the vets, it's got the young guys, it's got everything you have. It's got the head coach. The head coach is probably the one thing that is higher up than we can say of the other teams. It's like you got probably one of the top end head coaches in all of the MISL or MILS.
MLIS. There are a lot.
It's a lot of letters.
It is a lot of letters. It could definitely give you occasion to be tongue-tied for certain, trying to sort through this. And if you think about it, all the iterations of the league, because it was the MISL, it was the NPSL, it was the MSL or the MLS. It went so many different ways.
Yeah, there's so many iterations of it that I'm so stuck on some past ones, some new.
Exactly. But yes, the MLIS Pro. And folks, just to let you know, I mean, we pulled those clips were posted by the Cleveland Crunch on social media. Yeah. And if you didn't know, be sure to follow along, and you can watch the Crunch when they're at home, when they're on the road. I know there's going to be some great broadcast, some stuff. There's partnering with the WKYC Plus for the home games. and on the road. You can follow them. You can go on to YouTube and you can watch them there. You may even want to do your own play-by-play. Feel free to do so. It might make it that much more interesting. Again, the Crunch, they will be coming home on January the 10th, their first home game of the season, and we'll get to that here in a moment. Let's take a look here real quick. Drew, did you catch around the league? There was only one other game last night. Lansing defeated Rockford, and currently, at least, let's take a look here. Amarillo and Boulder are underway or doing battle in the fourth quarter. Amarillo leading it 6-3 over Boulder. So, wait a second. Thank you, Mike. Yes, thank you, sir. But you know what? I'm going to get to this. I wanted to get this at the end, Mike. So stay tuned. But just to kind of give a word, a very complimentary and kind word about how fortunate Cleveland is when it comes to the broadcast and stuff. So we'll get to that in a moment. Currently in the standings, Drew, have you looked at the standings at all by any chance?
I took a glance at the standings.
It is very clear the teams that are really good and the teams that are not not very good at this juncture. Currently in the North Conference, Toronto is 4-0 overall. They have 37 goals for, only 15 goals allowed, so a plus 22 differential. The Crunch, they're 2-0, 35 goals for, only 8 goals allowed, a plus 27 differential. Pittsburgh is also 2-0. However, they've only scored 15 goals and they've allowed 10, so they're playing a little bit less high-scoring action there. Plus 5 differential. After that, you've got Lansing at 2-2, and everybody else in the North is under 500. Chicago's Mustang is 1-2, Rockford 1-4, Fort Wayne 0-4. And over in the South Conference, Orlando 5-1, 47 goals for, 25 goals against. And the second place team is Salt Lake City at 3-2 with only a plus 7 goal differential. So, I mean, it appears that Cleveland and Toronto are on a collision course. And, I mean, so I'm trying to look here. Yes. So average 16 points a game, I guess. So our goals. So we would have, 17 and a half a game, Drew, 17 and a half goals a game.
That sounds about right. About 17 and a half per game.
Yeah. So 35 goals for. So 17 and a half per game. But would you kind of look at it and say Toronto seems to be the only thing standing in our way right now in the North in terms of any kind of things that might happen to our team, such as injuries?
I mean, yeah, they seem to be the one besides us who are scoring a lot of goals. They seem to be dominating. They have a high plus GD. I mean, this team looks really, really good. And, whenever we faced a team like Toronto, it's going to be very good, very competitive. And, like as we talked earlier, this could be the the adversity game. This could be a game where it's like, oh, this is going to be a lot closer, a lot better than we thought it was going to be. It's not going to be a typical 18-2 game that we see, almost on a week-to-week basis. It's going to be, like a 10-9, an 8-7. It's going to be one of those very tight game. Yeah.
They had an amazing back-to-back home and home with Toronto last year. And I mean, it was very, very close. It was a good matchup. And I think we're going to see that again this season. And I was just curious as we were talking about it. It looks like we will be at Toronto February the 7th.
Yep.
And then home to Toronto on March 14th. Those ones will be important. Definitely put a star on your calendar for those games. Now, this is a good question here from Mike. And Drew, I'll let you answer this. Mike from the UK, love him. The teams play no defense. I wouldn't characterize it as that. How would best explain it to someone who maybe is used to outdoor football, European football, and not indoor soccer?
Yeah, so for indoor, it's a lot different. Obviously, if you checked out our last show with Coach Manfoot, he explains it perfectly how different the outdoor game is comparable to the indoor game. It's a lot faster. It's a lot tighter. There's not a lot of room to work with. There's, players going forward and backwards. So you don't really, it's almost feeling like you don't have set positions in a way, because
Right.
it's almost like watching hockey where guys continue to go up and down, back and forth. There's not like, yeah, you're listed as a defender, but there's times where you might be way up scoring goals and not back. So there's different aspects to indoor that are a lot more different than outdoor. The pace, the walls, obviously the walls make a massive difference. I mean, just the size of the field is completely different. So it feels like there's no defense, but there is in a sense, but it's just a lot harder in a way.
Well, right. You could see some of the really good matchups, as you suggested, Drew, where it's like a 10-8 game, a 9-7.
Yeah.
You're still going to have a lot of goals, and it's very fast-paced. You can have a guy cherry picking.
Yeah, you can have a guy just sitting waiting right next to the goalkeeper.
Right, just hanging out. There's no offsides. It's nothing like that. It is so fast, and you can do a very quick reset and get right into it. It's a fun game to watch. And I think we had an opportunity, and I hope people growing up today can take that chance and check out the games. And folks, just to remind you, again, January 10th, home opener as the Crunch returns to the Wolstein Center. Tickets are available. Please go and get your tickets. And I believe the website right there on the screen, if you're watching, theclevelandcrunch.com/tickets. Please go and get your tickets. Show out at the Wolstein Center. This team deserves your attendance. People talk in this town about you shouldn't show up to the Browns game. Show that owner what, blah, 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 and give him the what for. The Crunch deserves your attendance.
Yeah.
Those guys are playing their butts off and representing this team well. They're not in the stands punching a fan like DK Metcalf did. They're out there winning games and doing it right. It's a very, very good organization. So let me throw this did you know? And yes, Drew, I'm pretty sure you're going to be at the opener, and our producer extraordinary Michael Wilkes, he will be at the opener. That'll be awesome. So do you think there's any kind of split loyalty when the Crunch plays Toronto? Because for one of Cleveland's great indoor soccer players, Hector Marinero, did you know that Hector Marinero is from Toronto?
I did not know that.
Did you know they're Maple Leafs fans?
That I wouldn't be surprised.
Or at least his brother, at least Rob.
Yeah.
At least Rob is head coach of the Kent State women's soccer team. Rob Marinero, great guy. But yes, I don't. Do you think there's any loyalty issues there? Is he going to go north of the border on us? Are we going to have a problem?
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe there might be some tiny ties in there, and he's like,
It's possible. It's possible.
It's very possible. But you know what, though? If you played for the Crunch, I'm sure that dying loyalty for the Crunch is there more heavily than the Toronto favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's just fantastic. I just happened to think about that in talking about Toronto. Again, those are going to be some matchups to keep an eye on and star on the schedule on your calendar. As we mentioned, the Crunch is next. They are off now until after the new year. Mm-hmm. They return home to the Wolstein Center, and they're taking on the Chicago Mustangs. That'll be January the 10th at 7 p.m. I don't know how much I can glean from Chicago thus far, but I mean, from what you've seen, Drew, I don't recall if you happen to see any of the games last season against Chicago. I know there were two Chicago teams, Chicago POW, and then the Chicago Mustangs. If you saw any of them last year, do you have any insights from that and what you saw?
Well, the one games I did see was the Chicago POW, and that was the one at the Wolstein Center.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs. So I didn't see the Mustangs play.
Okay. I mean, From what I can glean is this: they're 20. Their goal differentials +1 in 3 games. They're
Yeah.
1-2. They've lost 2 in a row. They've had 23 goals for, 23 goals against, and certainly as we take a look here, it's not something that I think is going to blow your mind. I mean, in one game, Admir Sujovic had 9 points last night, right?
Yep.
Their leader in points, Gabriel Gerardo, has 7 points, 6 goals, and 1 assist. He is the leader in points. Last night, Admir Sujovic had more than this guy's had in 3 games. And that says something to me about the difference in these two squads. I mean, I don't even know, how do you do this? How do you do you have to set goals where you're like, maybe I could do this next time? What would be my goal this time? I feel like you're almost playing against yourself to better whatever goals you have. I think is where it comes down to some of the time. I hope they don't get bored, as we talked about in the Open.
Yeah, no, I hope not, because like you said, I mean, we had Suljovic who had 9 points himself. And you also had Darisic who had 6 points. He almost had the same amount of points in one game as Chicago's leader. So, I mean, like you said, I wonder if these guys do set goals for like, I'm going to score 3 tonight. Like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get 4 assists. Like, at this point, when you're playing teams like Fort Wayne, you just go out there and at that point, you just go and have fun, because you know it's going to be a game where you can easily win, you can easily dominate, but you just go out there. It's fun with the team. It's fun with the boys. You go out there and you just have fun, and you guys just sometimes, and it almost looked like it last night. Sometimes they mess around a little bit, try to see if you can't get other guys to score goals. See if you can't try and get people who don't play much to score goals or get assists or set them up. There's times where I played in indoor games where we'd be up like 15-1 and we're sitting there trying to set up bicycle kicks and trying to do fun things. And, it's like, yeah, it seems like it's a little taunting, but you just go out there to have a good time.
Well, what are you supposed to do? You've got
to you're bored.
You've got to keep playing. You can't just do nothing out there. Taking a look at, some of the team leaders. And if we hadn't mentioned it, Suljovic, the team leader, 10 goals, 7 assists, 17 points. Michael Darisic, 11 points with 6 goals and 5 assists. Gabriel Piwu, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Omar Najar with 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. And then Aiden Bozak, he's got 4 points with a goal and 3 assists. And we haven't even talked about, the likes of McCain Spragling.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how deep this team is. And then Ryan Minnick, who play such big roles on this team, and he's been around, and he's a veteran leader out there. So I think that Cleveland is they're loaded. They really are.
Yeah.
And I wish that, not that I'm not happy beating the tar out of other teams, but you do almost wish there was a little bit more maybe parity and the playing field was a little more even. I don't know how that's achievable, and maybe it's just a matter of time before other squads rise up to the levels of Cleveland and Toronto as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. You just continue to do what you do. Do tryouts, see what's around locally. I lived in Fort Wayne. I've played in that same indoor arena they played in just last night. When I played college.
I'm sorry.
Soccer.
I mean, I know.
And so there is a lot of good local Fort Wayne talent, so they could build based on just local. You just go through the tryouts. A lot of these teams need to just see what especially teams like Fort Wayne who are just brand new. It's gonna be hard for them to start off strong. I get to Crunch won a title in their first year and dominated, but again, there's guys who've been here who might have played high end indoor all year, all the time, and they're like, oh yeah, Crunch for sure. Let's join, and you build a dominant squad. Whereas teams like Fort Wayne might be just local college kids just looking for something to do on a Saturday night, and that's what happens, and that's how you get beat, because you're getting experience over. Well, I don't do this all the time, so for me, teams will get better as time goes on. You just have to let the league develop more, and things will start to come into fruition. And this will be a lot more competitive here in the near future.
Okay, so Mike says he's got a million questions to ask, but I'll leave you guys to it. Well, Mike, go ahead. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
ask
talk
him.
because we would love to answer the questions for you. I think there are a lot of people who don't know a lot about um, indoor soccer,
Yeah.
and even the people who are in Cleveland or whatever, they haven't all been around for the Cleveland Crunch in their glory years, as it were. So, hey, if there's any questions here, please feel free to let us know. We'd love to be able to try and answer those. Again, if you're in the area, get out to the games. Enjoy
Yeah.
this team. Get out to the Wolstein Center. January the 10th is the home opener. And go to theclevelandcrunch.com/tickets. Get your tickets. There are 6 home dates. They will be home on the 10th, the 24th, February 1st, February 21st, March 14th, and March 15th. And then the playoffs will be in Las Vegas at the Orleans. The
Yeah.
Orleans. Okay, so what now? What's the system to funnel players into a team? So you know a little bit more about this than I do, Drew, but I believe it's just a matter of tryouts. There is no specific system. Am I right on that per se?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, a lot of teams just hold tryouts because that's really all you can do at this point in time. There's no there's lower divisions of, indoor soccer. Obviously, you have the MASL 1, MASL 2, MASL 3. You know, you could play for one of those teams and then, build up a skill set, then go to a crunch tryout and then try out for the crunch to see if you're good enough for the MLIS. There's other professional indoor leagues or semi-pro indoor leagues you could try. It's more so just building up the skill set and trying out if your city has a local MLIS team. So yeah, like Lorraine is holding open
Yes.
tryouts right now for the new team that they're having. So at this point, it's just local tryouts.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. I feel like I'm on the Family Feud. I feel like
Yeah.
Steve Harvey.
Good
Here.
answer. Good answer.
Good answer. That was the worst. That was the worst answer I've ever heard. That was terrible there. And Cleveland is so fortunate. I hate to regurgitate and repeat myself, but so much great stuff going on in soccer in Cleveland, especially with the MLS Next team that we're expecting to start within a couple of years, and then the Women's Premier Soccer League. That they are also working on and will be starting up as well. Just great stuff as part of the Cleveland Pro Soccer group there. Folks, just a reminder, if you are watching us here or when you listen to us, please check us out. The Let's Go Crunch podcast, part of the Land Media Group. Make sure you like and subscribe. Please do check us out here because not only do we have the Let's Go Crunch podcast, but the Land Media Group is also part of a bigger picture, a much broader spectrum of a lot of Browns content, the Bearded Browns podcast, and more. So please check it all out. Drew, let me not forget, tell everyone where they can find you as well.
Yeah, you can find me on X right there where it says Hagenbaugh Drew. I just post a lot of soccer stuff, regardless whether it's me complaining about Tottenham Hotspur or complaining about the Crew or whatever. Obviously, now I tweet a lot about the Crunch, so you can follow me there on X right there.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah. So there's no super draft like MLS.
No,
No,
nope.
there's not. It's not. This is
It's not big, yeah.
No, and I think what people also should understand is this is not a lucrative thing per se.
No.
These are guys who have regular jobs.
Yeah.
And do all kinds of stuff. So this is not like I'm going to be a millionaire at this point. Even when we were talking about, I read an article that maybe in one of the championship seasons, and I don't want to remember which year it was. I think it was Otto Orff was only making $11,000 a year in the 90s. That wasn't a lot in the 90s, believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe. So, but these guys are busting their butts, and really, it's impressive what they do. One thing I wanted to mention here before we close it out, Drew, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. The Cleveland Crunch is very fortunate, along with other Cleveland sports, to have a great broadcaster, a great broadcast voice. Want to just give a shout out to the Cleveland Crunch for putting together a first-class broadcast experience and team. Kevin Arnold is the voice of the Crunch, and he does an excellent job. Not only is he good at what he does, at what he's doing, he knows the game. Even though he roots for Man U, he knows the game. We'll give him that one. But no, Kevin, again, just so people know, if you go and you watch the games, if you're watching the road games versus watching the home games, you will know what I'm talking about and be very thankful for the hard work and effort that Kevin Arnold puts into the broadcasting of the Cleveland Crunch games and the production work they do with the broadcast. So be sure to follow along. If you are not able to be at the games, make sure you're following them along. Make sure you watch the games because I'm far away and that's what I have to do. And I really appreciate Kevin when I do watch it at home.
Yeah, no, I take a lot of pride in knowing Kevin as a personal friend. He's really good at what he does. Like Ethan said, this guy is phenomenal. He works extra hard. He works as hard as anyone in the league at doing what he does. And one of the best play-by-play guys in one of the best play-by-play guys, in the league. And he just is an insanely hard worker. I mean, he goes out of his way to make sure things go right. Things look good. Things sound good. You have a proper broadcast. And that's what he brings. He brings that proper broadcast. And it makes you, like, if I don't get to go, it feels good watching, knowing that I'm going to have a good time watching it on TV or watching it on my computer.
Right.
Because of what the job that he does. He does so well. Absolutely.
So, Mike, good question. We'll just post this. So, first of all, Mike, you recognize the name because Kevin Arnold, and for those of you who don't know, he is over at 850 ESPN Cleveland, Good Karma brand station. WKNR Cleveland, a Good Karma brand stations. Anyway, but how can you tune into the game? Again, it's on YouTube. There's an MLIS station, and I think there's normally posts for it. To follow the Cleveland Crunch. And I'm sure if you're on their website, it will have that. Again, you can go on to YouTube and watch the games from near and afar. But anyway, so that was all I wanted to get out there. Drew, do you have any last words?
Yeah, let's go Crunch.
Yes, let us go Crunch. Yes, and YouTube and then WKYC Plus.
Yeah,
locally. They will have those as well. Again, thank you for all of the people who tuned in, all the people who commented. Thank you very much again to Mike Wilkes, the behind-the-scenes man, putting everything together for us and being Johnny on the spot. Love everybody here. Thank you to everybody at the Land Media Group. Once again, for Andrew Hagenbaugh, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you've been tuned in to the Let's Go Crunch podcast here on the Land Media Group.